Whew, we made it.
Oh, man, the apocalypse is hard. Hey.
Wait.
You getting hungry, John? Because I could use a meal.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, check it out. There's a taco stand.
Hey, I love tacos. You know, it's been a while, but, I could use a taco.
Yes, tacos are good apocalypse food. They're good anytime food. Let's get some tacos. Taco, 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 taco,
Man.
taco.
It looks like this place has been deserted for, 5 years.
I'll say it's dusty.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 years is a long time, John.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Sure is, and,
You get away from my beans!
Who is... wait.
Dan?
Who? I don't know anyone named Dan. I'm Fluffy Numperkins, Queen of France.
Yeah, that's Dan, all right.
Uh-huh. Unmistakable.
You two interlopers get out of here. I'm waiting for my friends Tim and John to get here so we can do our podcast like we did in the old days.
That's
I'm...
us.
Yeah, I'm John. He's Tim. Dan, don't you recognize us?
It's been a long time since I've seen anybody here since the apocalypse started. No one wants a taco. Hey, let's have some tacos.
Let's have some
I
taco.
like this idea. Thank you for calling Late Night Taco Delivery. If you are calling to place an order, unfortunately the store is closed due to the fact that we are about to record a podcast. We'll be closed for another half an hour-ish. If you're calling to listen to the show, congratulations, you are just in time. So kick back, relax, and enjoy.
Yay! Ladies and
Hooray!
gentlemen, as I haven't said this in a long time, but ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to Late Night Taco Delivery.
Late Night Taco Delivery! Yay!
I am your host, Daniel Gill.
And I'm Jonathan Knoll.
And I am Tim.
He's something I know him as Tim. Yeah, guys,
Some people
we're
call
back.
me Tim.
Holy shit, we're back.
Yeah, it's been
Oh my god.
I don't think it's been 5 years. I think it's been like 3 years, but it's been a while.
a very
Yeah.
long while.
It's been too damn long. And
We've
with the
been- We've been busy with quite a few things, and so is the world, apparently.
yeah, with the,
Oh,
apocalypse,
absolutely.
with the apocalypse going on, we figured, hey, let's do a podcast again, shall we?
Let's
Yeah,
go out
because
like
honestly,
real
I've missed you
podcasters.
guys.
I've
missed you guys so much.
Too.
I miss you
Oh
guys
my
too.
God.
Oh my god, I want to do a road trip when this is all over.
Road trip.
Go do some fun.
I have dibs on not being the designated driver. I am hitting the Jack Daniels hard.
Fair enough.
That's actually one of the big things that's certainly changed for me in the last 5 years. Like 5 years ago, I was not a drinker. Now I am.
Well, watching
I wonder why.
Watching this world go to that hill has been great fun to do.
Yikes.
So, all right, well, we're not going to do geek news tonight, guys, because we've already chosen our section.
Yeah,
we're gonna do
but
yeah.
I am gonna ask, one thing before we start is, well, Tim already kind of started it, but what has changed for you in the last 5 years, Dan?
Oh man. I'll admit, I unfortunately did lose my father 2 years ago.
God rest his soul.
Agent Orange finally got to him, but he went quick, and that's the important thing. My mom is doing just fine. I actually moved back with her to help take care of the house until I get out on my own again. Still working at Walmart. Still have a job. Did get a new car. Finally got rid of the Danmobile. I now have a 2009 Jeep Compass. It's a brilliant shade of blue, and it's bleeding me money dry. I just had to put a new tire on it for $100. That was fun.
Oof.
Yeah, I still got things I got to fix, but it's doing okay. It'll be good for road trips.
Oh yeah. I also got myself a new car. I traded up my old Rust Bucket Serenity for a nice Ford Escape that I now affectionately call the Bebop.
No.
Going from, the Western cowboy of Firefly to the Western cowboy of Cowboy Bebop.
Yep.
And that thing drives so much easier. I can't tell you how refreshing it is to drive down the street and not have to turn off the radio and listen for a...
In the last 5 years, I have gone from being... from having a fiance to not having a fiance,
Which
and then
sucks.
being single, and you know what? The last relationship that I was in after that kind of left me a little bit battered and bruised, so I am kind of in a weird healing phase.
Take all the time you need, man. Just don't be like me and take 20 years.
Who knows?
Yeah.
But hey, I've grown a mustache. It's
I can
it's a
tell.
lot better than the one I used to have.
It's very dashing, very, very Errol Flynn.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I've also been growing out my own mustache, and even though I really feel that you lost your fiance, but I found mine, which was
Yeah.
really nice. Oh man, I don't know if I
And
should
this
tell this
giant
story, 'cause
dork
it's so.
This giant dork proposed to his girlfriend while dressed as Darth Vader. I was there.
Colossal
I was the ring bearer. I was the ring bearer.
Yeah,
It was
but
awesome.
yeah, my lady has like a real affinity for otters, and I was able to find an otter ring through a friend of ours, and but I also felt like I couldn't just stop there and give her the ring dressed as Darth Vader. I also gave her an engagement sword,
Mhm.
which was
As is right.
yeah, because every great woman needs a good sword, and I couldn't think of any better one than Oathkeeper from Game of Thrones. Because then I could actually, while I'd give her the sword, get down on one knee, and present it to her, and I'd be like, "Well, speaking of oaths, and since I'm on my knee anyway, beep, pull out the ring."
It was very cute.
And I'm
And
like,
she's
oh.
sweet. We had people around cheering. It was awesome.
It was a wonderful night. I just wish the movie that we went to see that night was better. Because we went to go see The Rise of Skywalker.
You know what? I think that's going to have to be a podcast for another day.
Oh,
I am
yeah.
not
Yeah.
talking about Rise of Skywalker tonight.
Yeah,
No.
that's a minefield. Instead, I feel like we should probably start talking about what we are here for.
Yeah, because like Dan said, the apocalypse is going on outside.
It's
Pretty
the end,
much.
The end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine.
Well, Tim doesn't.
No.
I feel better.
Yay.
Well, that's good.
So,
He,
but
he got a sense of taste back, which is helpful.
yeah.
Hey. So yes, there is a pandemic outside. I'll at the risk of calling it by name, a lot of folks I've been following around call it different things. I think my favorite though is the human malware.
I like that. I like that.
I've been calling it the plague.
I mean, fair enough.
I've been
but
calling it coronavirus. That's what it is.
yeah,
I
But
won't
with-
call it the Chinese virus because that's what Trump does because he can't pronounce corona or COVID.
but yeah. So with it being, the plague-ridden end of the world outside, it has befallen us, we three geeks, to kind of do a retrospective on some of the luminaries in apocalypse filmmaking.
Yeah, I think really the biggest one obviously is Roger Miller. I think is his name. Crap, the Mad Max guy.
Oh,
Hold on.
crap. Yeah.
To the almighty
pretty sure.
Google.
Yeah,
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
George Miller. I'm sorry.
There we
It's
go.
George Miller. No, he basically created the post-apocalyptic car chase movies with the Mad Max series. and which I've seen all but one. I've not actually seen the original Mad Max, but I've seen Road Warrior, Beyond Thunderdome, and Fury Road.
Would you believe?
Guys, can't we get Beyond Thunderdome?
Would you believe I have not seen any of them?
I'll see myself out for that.
Yeah.
Shame.
Okay. I'm fired.
Shame on the unbeliever.
Yep, this is the part where I'm fired from the show.
I mean, you know what?
Yeah,
It's
we're-
fine because I haven't either.
Oh, really? You haven't seen any of
Really? Oh my God!
I haven't
what's wrong
seen
with
any
people?
of them.
them? Wow. Okay, I feel
They're
so much
absolute
better.
classics.
Yeah.
Come on, they're right up your alley. They're like BDSM roving biker gangs.
Well, yeah. See, that's the other thing that has been going around, where like the
One of the
apocalypse.
guys has a gay love slave, for crying out loud.
No, that's the whole thing that's going around, where like the apocalypse wardrobe thing going on right now is supposed to be kind of this crazy S&M Mad Max kind of Fury Road sort of thing, and it's more like Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Exactly. But I'm actually curious because did you guys watch any new apocalypse movies for this podcast? Because I did, because I've been wanting to see it for a while, and it was Deep Impact.
Mm.
Oh no.
Yeah, because I'd seen Armageddon and not really a fan, and I heard about this other movie that came out literally the same like summer that apparently it was way better, and it was. It was so much better. I mean, it was a little melodramatic, but better than Michael Bay, which is a real low standard.
I mean, if we're gonna just drag people through the mud on like that kind of thing, we might as well also mention Roland Emmerich movies.
Oh, dude.
Your Independence Day, Day After Tomorrow.
See,
um,
those are the movies that
2012.
I freaking love, believe it or not.
2012.
I love all of those movies, believe it or not.
Christ, has anybody actually felt alive since 2012?
Not
No.
really.
What was it? I believe you said, Dan, that the world did end in 2012. The year 2012.exe did not load. And
Oh, yeah.
all the other years have been corrupted ever since.
Yeah, our reptilian overlords basically threw us into a simulation to try to keep things going, and unfortunately, the program is becoming corrupt. And that's why
I
everyone's
mean,
going to shit. And
It wouldn't surprise me.
They're
No.
trying desperately to do something. That's why this pandemic isn't like, the Spanish flu where millions of people are dying. This is like a very mild pandemic. Virus is extremely contagious. Like you say, it's human malware.
Yeah.
Click on this link. You won't believe what this panda can do.
It's kind of amazing that of the things that I've seen recently, because you know how like a lot of end of the world stuff has always been about this one evil, sinister person or persons, or this one really devastating natural thing that we can't or have to try to avoid. It's always something that's devastatingly efficient, but the thing that winds up actually killing us is something that is wildly insufficient,
Yeah.
or wildly inept. Ineptitism is what kills us, not something.
You mean ineptitude?
Ineptitude is what kills us, not something that is, super cunning.
Oh, yeah.
Like-
I think you just described Trump pretty well there.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is.
I mean, by that same token, you might as well bring up stuff like the Omega Man, where like humanity lives by a thread after something that was, done by people who could have known better and
Yeah.
could have done better, but
Or The
now
Stand. Stephen King's The Stand.
yeah.
I mean, literally, if that one dude had not left the Air Force Base at the beginning of The Stand, the flu would have been contained. Captain Trips would have never left. But he had to escape with his family because he was panicking, which is what a lot of us would do. What people do in the movies and such is that they don't want to sacrifice themselves for the greater good. And that's perfectly understandable.
Sure.
Yep. But
It's human nature.
yes.
As
yes.
long as humans are happy, fat, fed, and entertained, we're perfectly happy. You take any of those things away, we panic.
Mm-hmm.
Why do we buy all that goddamn toilet paper? Why? Seriously. Holy shit. Why?
Honestly, I think you know what I think the real reason was. It was because they were literally and metaphorically shitting themselves.
Ugh.
As a
Yeah, but
bad
with
of a joke that is.
I mean, when we're bringing up bad jokes, we might as well bring up the 3 shells.
Yeah. Someone better explain how to use the 3 shells at this point. Actually, I might get myself a bidet.
It's some strange times, man. Although,
It is.
I'm just curious. Out of all the apocalypses that you've seen in fiction, which is the one you would actually want to live? Instead of this kind of weird limbo-like stasis.
Yeah, because this
This-
episode of
this-
Black Mirror is the worst.
Yeah.
That was one of the funniest protest signs that I'd seen out there. This episode of Black Mirror sucks.
Well, it
I want a
does!
good old-
It
I
does.
just want a good old-fashioned zombie apocalypse.
You want to be in the zombie apocalypse? Okay, we talking Walking Dead or Zombieland or Shaun of the Dead?
Or World War Z.
Oh, geez, World War Z. That's a
Not the movie version, the book version.
Oh, there is no other version. I don't acknowledge the movie because
Because
the movie.
Sorry, there's a movie?
There's a movie that resembles the just the title and nothing else.
yeah.
What a waste
uh,
of good
Sorry,
material.
it's kind of on the same level as, admitting that, The Last Airbender or any movie after Aliens exists.
Or the
They don't.
Or the Matrix sequels.
I like the Matrix sequels, thank you. I accept
Well,
the fact that they're bad writing, but damn it, they're cool.
I'm sorry, John. There's this other person that's broken into the call. I'm not sure who he is.
Am I fired again?
You can collect your paycheck next week.
Well, at least I get paid. I wish.
No, I always thought that the World War Z, very well written, and it used the classic zombies. I mean, the classic shambling, put a bullet in their head, they're done.
Yeah.
And I liked the fact that in the book they basically had to redesign how to fight. Humanity had to redesign how to fight
The
because
Raj
all the
Singh
weapons.
squares.
Yeah, and with all the weapons that we used were like, yeah, it works, but it works on living opponents, not dead opponents.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they had then they got them popped up, and they had a metronome going, and they just pop, 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 get your target, take your shot, get your target, take your shot, and they just marched across the United States doing that. Plus, Michael Stipe was in there. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, and Iron Maiden was their signal or
The
their
trooper. Their pump-up
enticement.
music.
Yeah. But and plus, what I really dug about World War Z is the international appeal. Like it truly was around the world and above. Like one of my favorite stories is the Australian commander of the International Space Station.
Oh yeah, that was such a cool idea.
It was so cool. Like, what would zombie apocalypse look like from space? That's a movie in and of itself.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh God, yeah.
Honestly, if I had to pick an apocalypse to try and live through, I feel like the one that I would want to go for is something in the same vein as like La Jetée or 12 Monkeys, as it's better known, thanks to Terry Gilliam.
Ah, yes. I love 12 Monkeys.
Because like the world has ended essentially, but there's still hope in it. Even if it's a perverse hope where you can only time travel out of it.
Yeah.
You can try to change things, but in the long run, it's going to be a little bit more futile.
Yeah.
But there's still hope to it.
Right on. So in a way, you also probably would be right at home with the Terminator franchise as well.
To a lesser degree, I think.
I guess that's because it's a much more warlike kind of situation.
Yeah, whereas 12 Monkeys or La Jetée, specifically La Jetée, is more science-based. Where it's like, yes, the apocalypse happened, now how do we get out of it?
Yeah. Honestly,
That's the point I'd prefer to be.
Probably the most fun would be Shaun of the Dead.
Oh, totally.
Absolutely.
They show what happens after the apocalypse, and it's like they're training zombies to work at grocery stores.
You know what's
and
actually...
they're using them for game shows. My boy, he's still a boyfriend. Do you sleep with that thing? Maybe.
I mean, it's funny you should mention that because there is actually a movie called Fido where they actually explore that. Where it's a post-zombie apocalypse. Yeah. I have a copy, I still haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
But I'm interested because of that concept.
But honestly, that's kind of how I expected an actual zombie apocalypse to happen. Is it would be like in America, it would be one long fun weekend. Because everyone has guns.
With lots of Queen. And speaking of which...
lots of Iron Maiden and Led Zeppelin playing.
So a long time ago, when I used to work at a frame shop, I actually found a shadow box that was going to be thrown away, and I decided to eventually make it, because I don't have any space for it right now, but it's my long-term project to turn it into a breaking case of zombie shadow box. So there'd be like a fake shotgun, a fake crowbar, a copy of the Zombie Survival Guide, but my favorite little item that I'm putting in there is this.
Queen,
it is
Don't
a
Stop Me
vinyl.
Now.
Yeah, it's a vinyl single of Queen's "Don't Stop Me Now."
Well, hopefully you can find a record player to play it on during the battle.
Actually, we do have a record player. It's a little case one that my fiance has. So, yeah, we'll totally have some Queen during the zombie apocalypse.
Nice.
Now, as far as an apocalypse that I would want to go through, it's actually one that you might not have heard of. Have you ever heard of a film called Seeking a Friend for the End of the World?
Yes, actually, I have.
not.
I have.
It's with Steve Carell and Keira Knightley, and essentially the plot of the movie is an asteroid 70 miles wide is coming towards Earth. A group of scientists have tried to stop it, and it's failed. And in 3 weeks, everybody on the planet Earth is dead. So, it's really a weird, interesting social experiment because a lot of people just kind of keep going on with their lives like nothing's happening. Some of them go apeshit crazy and, start having mass orgies and crazy drinking parties and doing hard drugs, even giving the hard drugs to the kids. Like, some people hire hired killers to end it quicker. There are mass suicides and mass baptisms and just all these crazy things going on. And then there's just some people are just kind of going things about that they would normally do. Like, because what else are they going to have to do with their lives? They have no ambition for that sort of thing, so they just kind of keep doing their normal thing until the end. It's a weird social experiment, and it's fun to see to play out, because it's like this rom-com movie between Steve Carell and Keira Knightley, and it's a really sweet movie. But, yeah, it'd just be nice to know that we're all dead in, 3 weeks, and I can just kind of do whatever until right before the end. There's going to be a lot of hookers.
until Elon Musk says fuck it and flies a Tesla Roadster into the asteroid, knocking it off course, and then they're like, well, that was anticlimactic, and sorry for shooting my neighbors. Didn't mean to rape your horse.
But yeah,
Yikes.
that'd be an interesting apocalypse to go through. Just knowing that you're all going to everyone's going to die, and there's literally nothing you can do to stop it. Just have some fun.
Okay, so what about a
I mean, we kind of had a nod to this kind of style of apocalypse where, like, you're absent for the actual events of it, and you just rediscover it afterwards, like Planet of the Apes.
Okay.
What's the first thing you look for?
That's a good question. I don't know. What do you think, Dan?
He broke up. I didn't get a chance to hear what he said.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
run that by us again.
Okay, let me try it again. So,
Sorry.
take for instance an apocalypse where the what happens is you're absent for the actual action of what happened, but you come back just after everything. What do you look for first? Kind of like in Planet of the Apes.
Or even
Okay, I got you now, I
arguably,
got you now.
or arguably, Walking Dead, when he wakes up in the hospital.
That would work too.
Yeah. Ooh, what do I look for first?
I look for a newspaper.
First thing I'd look for is my loved ones. That's the first thing. Like, immediately, if I'm waking up, okay, if I get into a car crash, and then I wake up in the hospital, like either in 28 Days Later or Walking Dead, and I wake up from like a coma, and the fucking world went up, I'd be like, where is my fiance? Where are my best friends? What the fuck happened? Like, I'd only be slightly interested in what is going on, but but if things look as dire as they do, like if there's missing persons plastered up all over the wall, and tributes to people all over the streets, and bodies, and overturned cars, and tossed aside military hardware, like if that shit's like around, like it's be like, I don't really care what caused this. Right now, I need to find the people I love.
Yeah.
See, I kind of like that idea. I kind of like the way that they handled it like that in Avengers Endgame. Spoilers, by the way.
Ooh, like you haven't seen it already.
I mean, yeah, but even still, like, okay, the last time we talked, The Force Awakens had just come out.
Yeah, that was
Jesus,
that was a long time.
That was a long time ago. Anyway, so yeah, I feel like life would still go on. People would still cope. People would still, try their best. But there would still be, like, monuments and have you seen this person and stuff like that. So, like, I feel like of all of the possible, like, apocalypses, that's probably the one of the more realistic ones.
Besides the mad space titan part.
Well, naturally.
I just want to say one thing. I'm very glad that this whole coronavirus thing didn't happen last year, because I would have been very pissed if I didn't see Avengers Endgame.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
Because, dude, seriously, like, Endgame was, like, I think probably the last truly, really great, like, the generation-defining movie moment of our lives, because I think that one, dare I say, may actually blow the original Star Wars trilogy in terms of just sheer cultural audience reception.
Participation.
Yeah.
Yeah, quick aside. I dragged Tim, Katie, and our friend Flossie up to Frankenmuth, Michigan.
Yes.
To go to a Taking Back the 80s event, which was quite huge and a lot of fun.
It was.
But we wanted to go see Avengers Endgame during all this. And I'm also doing this because it was the 1-year anniversary of the passing of my father. And I didn't want to be alone. My mom was going to be with my sister. I wanted to go and spend time with my friends. So go up to the thing. We have a great time seeing the movie. We go to the event. But while we're in the film, there is a moment where Tony Stark gets to meet his father, Howard Stark, and they talk about being fathers. And I'm sitting there with my hand on my face. Tim is on one side, Flossie's on the other, going, oh no, he's having a moment. He's remembering his dad. So they both grab me and are trying to hug me because they're like, it's okay, you'll be all right, you'll be all right. and all I can hear in my mind is, Jesus Christ, I have to pee. So as soon as that scene ended, I bolted for the door. They thought I was running to cry my eyes out. I was in the restroom with the urinal going, cry me a river. I was just out there tapping a kitty. I love my friends. I love them dearly, but I'm like, please let me go. I've got to pee.
Yeah.
You did not.
Sorry I've been so busy with college. I feel like Steve from Blue's Clues where this is concerned. I went to college and, like, the show did not go on.
You
So,
did.
like... yeah.
You get through
So,
college,
sorry
man.
for my abandoning you guys.
It's all right.
Did you
get through
Did you
college.
join a cool punk band?
I didn't.
That would have been
didn't.
cool.
Instead, I made a bunch of art, and I think that once I'm done with this, okay, so a couple of years ago, I started making this gigantic poster. This thing is 17 by 77 inches in size,
Nice.
and it is covered in pretty much every pop culture thing you can think of.
Oh, yeah, I think you've been sharing that. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
seeing the progress, man. I can't wait to see the final product.
Mm-hmm.
If there is one.
Oh, well, technically, it's already kind of complete. Now that I have a proper drawing tablet, I can, like, zoom in and do better details. I've been basically doing a complete redraw, and I'm getting close to about 5/8 of the way done.
Nice.
Excuse me, no, 3/8. 3/8.
You got a long way.
It'll do.
Yeah. So, sorry about that weird aside, but I just had to tell that the Avengers Endgame.
That's fair.
Yes.
But we
I
met.
don't even think we don't even get listeners. We just three friends bullshitting. It's half the fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But there is another question that brings up. We talked about the apocalypse that we would love to be in. What's the one apocalypse that we absolutely would not want to be in?
The one where everyone dies.
Yeah.
I like having hope. Like you say, talk about searching for a friend at the end of the world. We're all going to die. That's it. I mean, you have to accept that. I don't accept that. I even think that if a huge plague or something, or an asteroid coming to the Earth would wipe out, a portion of the life on the planet, people would be able to move underground and stay there for a couple hundred years.
I mean, that was
survive.
featured in Deep Impact. Like, they have room for 1 million people for 2 years underground with enough supplies to restart.
Yeah.
It's also very Fallout-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Well, the thing about sci-fi is it's in. Harlan Ellison once said, "No matter how bad the future looks, sci-fi is inherently hopeful because it shows us there is a future."
Yeah.
And apocalypses always have a future. Even in the Mad Max movies, you still have people being decent to each other in some way or another, trying to rebuild society. Maybe not, with the craziness of a New York City or a Beijing or a Tokyo, but they create places to live, they create food, they create art. It's always going to keep going on.
That's strangely comforting. It kind of reminds me of the Stanley Kubrick joke on when he was making The Shining. He's like, yeah, I feel like The Shining is a very optimistic story. And they looked at him weird and like, why would you say that? And he says, well, the implication of ghosts implies that there's something after death, and that seems kind of uplifting to me.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, wow. That's a nice way to look at it.
Okay. Well, while we're, sitting hopeful and, hoping that nothing bad like that ever happens, what is your favorite apocalypse movie?
Well, actually, hang on. before we get to that question, I still want to know, what's the one apocalypse that you don't want to live through?
Oh,
John?
me.
Yeah.
Ha! Yeah. I never want to face an enemy that can't be defeated.
So something like Godzilla.
Well, no, Godzilla inherently, like, you can defeat that. The Terminator, you can't defeat the Terminator.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, you can. You can just be Linda Hamilton and have a steel press.
The Terminator, or, God forbid, facing, the Terminator in Terminator 2.
Geez, the T-1000. Yikes!
Yeah, no.
You're dead.
Like, there's a reason why in later Terminator movies, they were like, yeah, they decommissioned the T-1000. Why? Who knows? But, like,
It was
Yeah.
too unstable. I don't know.
yeah, because the writers wrote themselves into a corner.
Well, also,
There is no hope there.
there's no hope for anything past T2. Like, T2
Well-
is the peak. T3 was
Kind of
problematic.
slow down, and then after that, you're like, fuck it, I give up.
Did you guys see Genesis? Because I didn't have the heart to see it.
Yes,
I've never
is that
seen a
the-
Terminator 2 after Terminator. I've never seen a Terminator movie after Terminator 2.
Oh.
So
I saw Terminator 3, and that was enough for me. I never saw any of the other ones.
I saw Terminator 3, and I'm like, that was okay.
I
Then I
kinda
saw
wanted to see the
Terminator
James-
Salvation, and I was genuinely pissed off. And then I saw the trailer for Terminator Genesis, and I'm like, hell no.
Which one is the one that just came out with
Dark
Linda
Fate.
Hamilton?
I actually
Okay.
did see that one just because I was feeling somewhat optimistic. I was disappointed.
Aw.
Like, yikes! It's a well executed mess of a script. Like it's
At least
just
you gave. I like this trend of taking female action heroes and bringing them back for one more hurrah.
I'm with you on that.
yeah.
I like
Linda
Linda
Hamilton was like
Hamilton, Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis was badass in the Halloween movie.
I heard she was. Linda Hamilton
She was
was easily the best part of Terminator Dark Fate. And also, again, Arnold Schwarzenegger was weirdly the best part. He does, I do drapes. he does drapes. And he's like, and he has a wife and son. And is like, probably my favorite line in the movie is where he goes, is like, your quote-unquote wife hasn't noticed you weigh 400 pounds and never sleep. Our relationship is non-physical. I'm reliable, I'm extremely helpful, a good listener, and I'm also extremely funny.
And he also has 3 speeds.
It's really funny. But, yeah.
Slow, fast, and who needs a man?
But yeah, Terminator Dark Fate is just such a no.
No.
Honestly,
That's
if they're
one of
gonna
the-
do another Terminator, they better just do a straight up prequel. That's all.
They just need to stop making Terminator movies, honestly.
I wouldn't
It's like
mind
with
even
the
just. I honestly
it's
would
like
Just
with-
scrap the whole thing and start over.
Well, yeah, that's why I wouldn't. I'm in favor of a prequel that looks like a 24th century Holocaust.
I'm up for not continuing to pull up old franchises, because they keep pulling up old franchises and the movies don't make money. And well, maybe we'll try it again. I'm sorry. Predator was a great movie. Predator 2 was an okay movie. After that, stop. Please stop. Done.
I like Predators. Did you see Predators?
Please stop.
Did you see
Yeah, it was
Predators?
It was all right.
I liked it. Damn it! If it had a slightly better director and one more rewrite, that could have been really awesome.
If Robert Rodriguez had made it, I would have probably watched it.
Whatever. But I'm trying to think of the absolute worst apocalypse I'd want to go through. Probably the worst. The two that are way up there is probably either the I Am Legend apocalypse, where I become the last man on Earth.
Mhm.
That would be the worst, absolute worst, because everybody is gone but me. Because at that point, I would just off myself. I don't give. What point is there anymore? But the one
to
that
memorize Chef.
really, really scares me is probably the Genesis of the Matrix. where the machines take over, where it becomes like an all-out global war between the UN and Zero-One, and you're just a giant human race fighting on a dying planet, only to be captured and tortured and plugged into a matrix. Like, nah, that's the one that.
See what I mean about an unstoppable enemy?
A what now?
See what I mean about an unstoppable enemy?
Yeah, like. See, like the Terminator, at least we get blown up to bits in a nuclear war, but the war between the machines and the humans in the Matrix, like that's a ground level assault where it's like 100 times of the devastation of World War II that's spread all across Eurasia. Not Europe, not Asia, Eurasia. Like, 70% of the planet. That's freaking scary. And not to mention when the skies black out and, all the vegetation dies and the oceans dry up, and that's the scary part of it.
Step too far for you.
I have a question. I do have a question.
I have an answer.
Would you consider WALL-E an apocalypse movie?
Yes.
You know what? I think it is, yeah. That's not a bad one, I guess. I mean, we just turn into a bunch of fat blobs on wheelchairs or hover chairs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes me... I'm always curious exactly what's going to happen with WALL-E, because everyone on that ship is just round, and they're not... I mean, the robots will still keep working for them, but they're not going to be living on a planet that they're going to suddenly have to start exercising. And are their fat encrusted hearts going to be able to take it?
Well, there's that, and then there's also the idea where WALL-E doesn't find the plant and like the Earth doesn't re-support life, because, like you said, the human race is a pile of blobs. So what happens when eventually the robots are no longer able to be taken care of on the ship? It's still the end of the world.
Yeah, good point.
That movie always kind of messed me up when I first saw it, because I actually remember, like, if the captain of the ship has to, Google, essentially Google what a pizza is, it's just like how much history has been lost due to this apocalypse. I mean, because even the end credit sequence is very much of the ancient hieroglyphics of mankind starting over. So I was just always fascinated by the idea that history literally got lost in a pile of garbage.
Yeah, that's pretty much what archaeology is. It's going through people's garbage.
It really is. Pixar's so poetic. They know what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of which, I'm probably going to watch Onward tomorrow night.
I need to watch that too. I hear it's
on
actually
Disney. It's on Disney Plus, and I've got Disney Plus until the end of the year, so I'm not going to make use of it. Oh, another aside, I'm finally catching up on all the Disney movies. I only have like 3 left.
Oh, which ones?
I just watched Pinocchio for the first time in my life.
Wow, you!
Yeah, me. Mr. Disney has never seen fucking Pinocchio.
This is the animation expert Daniel Gill, who has never seen Pinocchio until only recently?
Yeah, I've seen everything else. You can name me any other Disney movie, I've seen it.
I'm really glad no one gave you a PhD.
Fuck off. So basically the ones I've got left are Home on the Range, Chicken Little, and Meet the Robinsons.
I've seen 2 of those.
Same.
I think I've actually got everything else, and then I'll be officially caught up except for like Frozen 2, which I'm counting as an official Disney release. I'm not counting any of the other sequels. I refuse to watch like The Lion King 2 or Cinderella 2 because fuck you, it's happily ever after. You're done. Finished. Done. No Cinderella 2, no Cinderella 3. I don't want to go to see Pocahontas 2. Fuck Pocahontas and her 2 Johns. I don't give a shit.
I'm going to go on record to defend Lion King 2 because that's going with the tradition of ripping off Shakespeare, because first Lion King is Hamlet. The second Lion
Yeah.
King is Romeo and Juliet, and it's actually not that bad.
It wasn't that bad. I did see that one. I enjoyed it. Father, they are us. You know, that was a pretty poetic line.
Mhm.
But the rest of the movie, I'm like, but I don't want to see Jungle Book 2. I want to see Bambi 2. Fuck that noise.
What about okay. Here's my question. Would you make an exception for sequels that were released in theaters?
Yes, that's why I'm going to see Frozen 2.
Okay.
I am going to sit down and watch Frozen 2. That's on Disney Plus as well. And I saw Rescuers Down Under, and I quite enjoyed
Oh,
that.
I hear that
I
one's
love
a
that
good one. That's such a good one.
It was very well done.
But okay, so now John, you mentioned what's some of your favorite apocalypse movies?
Yeah. So if I'm gonna, boil it down to a bunch of a handful of my favorites, I'm gonna say, top 3. I'm gonna say Independence Day.
Yes.
Because holy cow,
That's such a dumb movie, but I love it.
it's such a dumb movie and it's so much more relatable now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Akira.
Ooh,
And
very
I
good one.
entirely blame Dan for that one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
thank you, sir.
I quote unquote lost that bet.
And you can listen to my commentary, me and Dan's commentary on my podcast, Comtrack. Little self
Good plug there. Good plug.
little self promotion, shameless.
Yeah,
but whatever.
I basically bet John, he had to watch Akira. I had to watch Revenge of the Sith. He came out on the better end of that deal.
I sure did. I still laugh about that, and every now and then, whenever I meet someone new and I find out that they know about Akira, I always bring that up because
thank you so
seriously,
much.
It's always great.
it's such a good story. How can you not love that?
Yeah.
But the other one is Doctor Strangelove.
Oh, that's another
Yeah.
great one. Great one. With some of the greatest satire ever to grace the screen. Gentlemen, you
Oh,
can't fight in here.
absolutely.
This is the war room.
one of the few Kubrick movies I actually like.
Yeah, he got a little funny in the head.
I don't think about Doctor Strangelove as a Kubrick movie. I think of it as a Peter Sellers movie.
There you
It
go.
really is, because he owns that show, really.
He owns that show, and it doesn't feel like a Kubrick movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
The only time it really does is, like, with some of the photography. That's
Sure.
really about it. But that's because, Kubrick's photography style is so wired in. Like, there's really no escaping that. I think the only time it ever really got away with him was on Spartacus, which technically really wasn't his film either.
No, that was Kirk Douglas's movie with Dalton Trumbo
Mm-hmm.
doing the writing.
Yep. But, yeah, those are really
All right, so
excellent
you
choices.
guys.
Dan,
You
go
guys.
I like the Mad Max movies. I really do.
ahead.
I mean, they're big, they're brash, they're full of explosions.
Yeah,
I think Fury. We were talking about this earlier, Tim. Is that Fury Road was really good because they did a lot of the stunts in camera. They did use computers to kind of polish them up a little bit, but not to the point where it was distracting. I like those. I always really liked the 1990 remake of Night of the Living Dead. The one that was directed by The one that was directed by Tom Savini. The only movie he ever directed, but he did a really good job, and he worked very closely with George Romero. Because it does show one night of hell of them being trapped in the farmhouse, but then the next morning when the only survivor gets out and she finds humanity again, they're basically having a cookout. They're gathering up zombies, they're throwing in a pen, they're getting drunk, there's fucking food trucks from the carnival out there selling food. And literally, they're just having a good time. And it's like, this is exactly what would happen in a zombie apocalypse. We'd have a one weekend of hell, and then all the rednecks and all the fuckers like me who have pistols and rifles, we're like, yeah, we're going hunting. Let's go have some fun. Get in, loser. We're going hunting.
Just sucks on a cigarette the whole time doing it.
Yeah, and trying to be cool. And trying to be cool while not shitting my pants, you know?
Oh, man.
That's basically what would happen. Is we would have the apocalypse would happen, and then, life would go on.
Oh, so
That's
that
why
it
I
for
really-
you?
That's it for me, honestly. I don't know what else to talk about.
Oh, okay, because
It's been an
I've got
hour.
a
We had a good
lot
time.
of really fun end of the world movies. Like, I'm a total sucker for all of Roland Emmerich's movies. Day After Tomorrow, 2012, Independence Day, like you mentioned. But oh man, I think probably the best end of the world movie, just like straight up, probably has to be 2012 for me. Just because it's so entertainingly vicious at how it grinds the world up into just like a freaking ball of dust. And plus, like, because especially in the early 90s and early 2000s, and this was especially a trend set by Roland himself, was what I call monument destruction porn.
Yeah.
Where just all the, like you'd see the Colosseum or the Eiffel Tower and, Empire State Building, and especially the White House, because we know we want to see that place go up in flames. Just all these different places
Especially
going up
now.
in smoke. Oh, yeah. But it's like to the point where you're like, do you guys really have a fetish for it? Like, it was cool in 96, but now it's just like so passé. Because
I can't finish unless it burns.
you remember that does remind me. Do you, like, Dan? Do you remember when? Because you have a little bit better memory than we do, but apparently, like, when Independence Day, the trailer dropped. Apparently, the last image was the White House getting obliterated. Wasn't that
without
just
the helicopter in front.
Wasn't that just kind of the biggest
we
mic
were like,
drop?
Dude, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I was about to.
There were three movies that came out in 1996.
Yeah.
That everyone had to see, and it was funny because like literally has not happened before or since that there's just the three movies you gotta see. There was Independence Day.
Yep. There
was Twister.
Oh yeah.
And there was Mission Impossible.
Fuck yeah.
I had to see all three of those, and they were all three huge hits. Twister's held up a lot better than Mission Impossible, in my opinion.
Okay. But I just remember people used to talk about how when that trailer hit and the final image was the White House getting destroyed, that was like the biggest mic drop of the 90s. Now it's just like, okay, here we go again.
Yeah. Well, frankly, it's like these movies that they have with like the president getting kidnapped, they're totally unrealistic at the moment. They're like, oh no, the president's kidnapped. Really? Trump's been kidnapped? That's a terrible shame.
Yeah.
Oh, doing it. Darn it.
Maybe we should do something about that.
To be fair, at least the in-movie presidents were kind of kick-ass.
Oh yeah, Bill Pullman as the fighter pilot president was awesome.
That's such a.
Though I still wish that they had the one scene with what's his name, Randy the
Randy
guy.
Quaid.
Yeah, Randy Quaid.
Christ.
Originally, the shot was going to be him not being able to fly because he's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
He wasn't going to be able to give a plane, so he flies his biplane with a bomb strapped into the alien ship.
Cut. It's so
that
bad.
was actually it would have been hilarious.
It was so bad.
Which I said, sadly, they did cut from the film, so I guess that's kind of saved the movie. But I like Independence Day. It's fun. It's goofy. It's got every trope. The dog doesn't die. If you're a kid, it's like, if you're a kid or a dog, you're not going to die. If you're the president's wife with the best technology in the world, yeah, you're toast.
Yeah. I got to try to think of some of the other ones that I haven't mentioned. Oh yeah. Speaking of what's another really great one that came out roughly around that time? Mars Attacks.
Oh
Yes.
man,
That was such a fun movie. It's like
it really is.
Like, okay, so because I always called Independence Day the perfect balance of quality and camp. Mars Attacks just went straight full camp, and I kind of love it for that reason.
God, yeah. It was a lunatic movie.
It was so weird and stupid, and for some reason, Ving Rhames lived at the end. Like, what's that?
Tom Jones lived at the end. Tom Jones lived.
Tom Jones lived, and
Tom Jones
And they
lived.
stole the way and they stole the idea of how to defeat the aliens from Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, of all things.
So dumb. But
Because in
And
Attack
at
of
the
Killer
same
Tomatoes,
time-
they can be killed. Sorry, no. In Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, they get the tomatoes are killed by a song called "Puberty Love Song," and in Mars Attacks, they're killed by Hank Williams Jr.
Yep.
or Hank Williams yodeling.
yep.
Which is just like, wait, the fuck is going on here, Tim? Not you, Tim. Tim Burton.
Right,
Like,
right.
Wow. Tim.
The other weird Tim.
The other weird Tim, the guy who keeps getting hot goth chicks to fuck him.
Well, good for him.
I actually feel bad for his ex-wife because she was in like all of his movies, and like he tossed her for Helena Bonham Carter, and like bang, she's gone. Like, oh, poor Lisa Ann.
Burton's got to be the Burton.
I hate that you said that. I hate that.
I hate that too.
Burton's
I
got a
really
Burton.
do, actually.
Burton's got a Burton.
God, I'm trying to think of
Okay,
obviously,
so
Shaun of the Dead is another really personal favorite. The Cornetto trilogy in general has always been way up there. And
Yeah.
you know what else I really, really love? That no one seems to really talk about anymore because it was just like a thing that happened in 2005 and just kind of disappeared. Steven Spielberg's
Yeah.
War of the Worlds.
the
I
one
I
that
kinda like
Independence
that.
Day is compared to all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's weird because that movie is way scarier than it needs to be. Like, the sound design alone is something of nightmare fuel. Like
I mean,
yes?
I think that the important thing about why it's much more scary than it really needs to be is because it's also steeped in its time of being post 9/11.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That's definitely a huge thing because I remember in interviews that Spielberg's like, yeah, this is definitely a metaphor for our reaction to terrorism.
Yeah.
And it shows. I mean, and not to mention that brilliant scene in the basement that's on par with the kitchen scene in Jurassic Park. Like, everyone always seems to forget about that, and it's weird, but I don't know. I always love going to that one for inspiration for sound design because, man, the sound in that one is just so scary. Like, I guarantee you, if you get like a giant thing of speakers, put them up top on a hill, and rig the horn tripod blast to go off, and just run into your nearest neighbor and say, "They're here," it will scare the bejesus out of them.
Or you could just do what I do and then listening to Jeff Wayne's disco version of War of the Worlds.
Oh, jeez.
Oh God.
That's...
I love it. It's awesome.
I can't.
With Richard Burton as the narrator, it's a complete retelling of the story of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, but it's a disco version.
I've looked over... because I'm just such a huge fan of War of the Worlds and all its many variations, but that was the one where I'm like, I can't. I really
You should listen. It's catchy. It's catchy as hell.
I can't. This is silly. And I've seen some silly versions of War of the Worlds, man.
I love it.
That's just too
All
much.
right. Well, before we end this one off, I'm going to ask one more question.
Okay.
Okay?
Once we are finally out of quarantine, what is the first thing you're going to do?
Oh, geez. Wine party. Wine party is definitely on my list, possibly with togas.
I like your style.
Where we're just going to go apeshit crazy, wear the weirdest thing we can find, and just kind of drink ourselves into in celebration. Possibly throw up on one another. Who knows?
Okay. Well, you get to clean that up if it's at my place.
Well, maybe not
'Cause I'm
right.
gonna have a barbecue.
Maybe not directly on one another, but Just
I'm having a barbecue. I'm having a cookout after all this is over. But the one thing I really look forward to, I want to go to Grounds for Thought with you again, John. I want to sit, drink coffee, look at books, talk to one of my best friends, and
Absolutely.
just enjoy myself.
it'll be just really
look
nice
forward
to
to that
hug
too.
someone again.
Yeah, and I'm gonna go to a restaurant, get a good meal. I want to go to try the new hibachi place in town.
Oh yeah. Ooh,
Which it,
that reminds me. So my fiance said the first thing she really wants to do is actually go out of their way to go and travel to get some real quality garbage food, namely QPs.
ooh, go back to Lina.
Yeah, because you were the one who introduced it. It's like, hey, we got to go back there because we want some serious garbage food. Might even make a
Amazing.
trip up to
We'll
BG.
I'll drag you down there, John.
What?
Hey, what we can do? Here's an idea.
What's that?
We go to Wapakoneta, go to the Neil Armstrong Museum. Look at an amazing story about space. Drive to Lima, get some cubies, and then enjoy ourselves.
That sounds like a good plan. But we also
That
want
is
to
a
hit.
good plan.
We also want to hit BG to get some giant ass euros. Cause
Oh God, yes, they got Southside 6.
oh, I miss those fries and I miss those euros.
Yeah.
When I get out of quarantine, one, I've got I've got some appointments to keep, but one of the most pressing ones is just going to goddamn Waffle House.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, can we talk about this for a second? Is like, okay, Waffle House is actually used on the scale of apocalypse. Like, these
Yes.
things have lived through hurricanes, and now they're closed. So, we're all fucked.
This is
actually,
a
there's-
Waffle House level red.
Although there's actually another big reason, like, because I actually talked to this when to my fiance when YouTube went down, and we just kind of made it a unspoken thing that there are 4 horses gatekeeping a doorway to hell. It's Google, Amazon, YouTube, and Facebook. If all 4 go down, it's the apocalypse.
I can dig it. I can dig it.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing, though, if you really think about it. If the internet goes down, I mean, like the entire internet, that's going to be really fucking weird for the world, because I grew up in a time when we didn't have the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, we're so used to our conveniences now.
I mean,
Honestly, we could have done pretty well in the 80s during this apocalypse, this quarantine.
probably.
I mean, we had, cable television and Ataris, or maybe it was the late 80s, Nintendo. But we didn't have the computers, we didn't have the DVDs, we had VHS tapes, but that's really about it. But we still found ways to keep ourselves amused.
But hey, you know what? If we didn't have the internet, we couldn't be doing this right now.
That's very
This
true.
is true. And I wouldn't have 2 of my best friends.
Oh.
I'm trying to remember. How did I meet you, John? I'm trying to remember.
Hmm?
How did I meet you? Oh,
Walmart.
Walmart, and I met Tim through. You were shooting a short video in my house while I was drunk.
Good times, man.
Mm-hmm.
God, I miss being on a film set.
Yeah. Actually, John, I was telling Tim about this. I actually reconnected with a couple of my old friends
No kidding.
from my friends Andrew and BJ. And Andrew actually is a prop master for movies made in Columbus.
Fantastic.
It's so cool.
So as soon as things get back up and running, because he showed me some stuff, he sent me links to things for there's a lot of movies he shoots for Amazon. But as soon as everything's up and running again, I'm going to try to give Tim a good word for him, see if we can get some work for him.
Yes.
Because I miss you guys, I miss them, and I want to get the hell out of this house. Holy shit!
Oh, dude.
I'm essential, but I don't want to be my entire life being Walmart and home.
Fair enough.
A lot of people have been bitching about, oh, this isolation sucks. Oh, this whole thing, I've been stuck in here for 2 weeks, blah, blah, blah. Bitch, I've been in isolation since November. Seriously, because over this last summer in 2019, I've been trying to build up my photography career. Not a whole lot of fruition. Just like I missed the seasons or I wasn't getting the right connections, whatever. So I wound up, going to a temp agency at a warehouse for a while and met with some very unprofessional people. So I quit, and because December was so packed, I just said, I'm going to take December off and just kind of focus on what I need to. And then over the break, I got a really generous offer by my fiance's parents. Said they'd be willing to help me out, but I had to wait until the beginning of February for that to go through. So for January, I was on my ass for just waiting for that to go through. Then once that got through, I was able to get a new car, which took another 2.5 weeks, and that meant I could finally go start job hunting again. And literally, as I'm putting out applications for a photography job, finally one gets back. And it was the day before all of this went down.
Oh, yeah.
And that got canceled flatly.
Oh, man.
So,
I'm so sorry, dude.
So really roughly since, late November, early December, I've been in quarantine. So if there is anyone out there who's complaining about it, come talk to me first. And I will tell you.
That's a movie.
It really is. Oh, jeez.
I posted this on Facebook.
That's not
somewhere.
That's too long to be a movie. That's a mini series right there.
No, so I just posted something about this Facebook. Someone out there is writing a movie script called Social Distance, and it's gonna suck.
It really
Yeah.
There's a lot. Although there was one movie, self-isolation movie that someone pitched to me that I thought was actually kind of clever. It's Siri becoming or someone being trapped in quarantine with just Siri, and Siri becomes self-aware.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it becomes kind of a weird combination of her in 2001. Yeah, so it could go either way. It could turn into either a rom-com or a horror movie.
Yeah.
And that could be the tension of the movie itself. You're not sure if this is a horror movie or if it's a rom-com. Who knows? But it's with Siri.
Yep. All right, kids. That should be about it, I think.
I think so.
We had a good time. It's really good talking to you again.
Oh,
I have missed you both so ferociously. John, I can at least see on a daily basis if I needed you. Tim, I can't see very often at all, but I want to.
Yeah,
I still have a Christmas gift for Tim that I still haven't been able to get to you yet.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, we were gonna have a cookout and things were gonna be awesome, and then fuck it.
I'm gonna have to dig up a gift for you, sir. I feel.
As soon as this is over, we are gonna put
blushing?
that in my place. All right.
Well, I think at this point we should say that from everybody here at Radioactive Walrus Entertainment, the Experiment Room, Dan's Domicile, Tim's Terrordrome? I don't know.
My office.
I like that. I like Tim's Terrordrome. I like that.
It's just my office, really.
What?
I'm very humble about it.
Well, from all of us here, thank you all for listening. This has been Late Night Taco Delivery. We are back.
You may now place your order.
Late Night Taco Delivery is performed by Daniel Gill, Tim Leifheit, and Jonathan Knoll, and was created by Daniel Gill. Production by Jonathan Knoll. Music by Kevin MacLeod. Find us on Twitter at Radio Walrus Pod. Like our Facebook page at Radioactive Walrus Entertainment. This has been Late Night Taco Delivery. You may now place your order.
This has been a production of Radioactive Walrus Entertainment.
John, what do chickens say?